Right, that's all the temporary Clico strips out and feathered in all the extra bits that I haven't, well, couldn't get access to. Just buzzed it over with the DA just to get rid of the excess glass, clean it up a bit so you don't get any little trapped air bubbles and things. But yeah, overall that's a pretty good starting point for bodywork. This is roughly the right shape now. Taking the opportunity while it's nice outside to put the chassis out there, out of the way. So I'm going to fiberglass in the rear arches properly and then fill in the exhaust. More 3D printing to the rescue. So this nice little sleeve for those two power, well, the DC charging cables. Obviously that'll do it nicely. I put a slot down the side so I can put sort of a slidey clip on the inside. And worst comes to worst, if I need to take it out, that'll be able to slide out and then get dragged between the little cavity. So you can see up here, it's going to sit up in the top of the wing up there. And then this other little clamp just bolted in from underneath there. So again, if I need to take the cable out when the body's on, which I shouldn't have to, but I can undo that bolt, pull that through here and then slide it back out the back. Not quite sure how I'll get back in, but it'll be fiddly, but I'm sure I'll be able to through that hole to guide it as it sort of comes in. Put a bit of a bend in. So now I just need to work out what length these need to be so they can go up to the charge port. In fact, I'll probably fix the charge port now. Also, I want a bit of slack in there if I can. But it's only going to about here, so I've got some excess. All right. Right, to finalise the DC charge cables, obviously I need the port in place. So I've been doing some fettling. I still have to do the actual cover, so it's only roughly cut. I printed out. Here we go. Then cut the negative out for the body. So that's with a 3mm gap. And that is now bonding in place. So I think that's pretty happy with that, actually. It's nice and neat curves. So to add to the Dremel out, doing some nice detail sanding. It's quite bulky inside, but you know, should do the job. But yeah, definitely need it in place to be able to finalise the cable routing. I'll not try and keep as much slack as possible, just for future maintenance. And then I can figure out where I'm going to close off the sort of the sides of the boot and on that charge port assembly, more or less sealed from the weather, but it does have a drain tube that I'll have to redirect outside. Okay, so the first one didn't quite work out. Everything was basically in tension, trying to close up these gaps and with the clamps and everything, so it wouldn't close. But while it was, I sort of temporarily hot glued the flap in place again, and it was hitting here on the body. I've been trying to fettle the positioning and all sorts. I was considering taking the thickness of the body around here down to nothing. But in the end, I had the idea of putting a little wedge inside the mechanism to act like an upper stop. As you can see, I've got plenty access for the plugs, which are normally angled down anyway, so that'll easily clear. And I've got a decent amount of clearance around the top as it is. So what that will let me do as well is space out the back here, which is where my clearance is really tight. Don't like doing it like that, but you can see there it's fine up here. But I could do with losing a bit more around the back. So I'll space it down a bit here, just make my life easier. Always fettling. Ordinarily I'd do this via the app, but it does work by pressing it as well. Right, let's having a quick try. It's powered down, so it's not being held in the top position, but that's plenty of clearance. Right, so here's the actual charger guts fitted on the back. This is the charge door controller, which probably sat further up. Well, originally it sat here, but obviously the charge port was in a different place. I think I'm going to have to extend all this wiring from the charge port door, unless maybe I can reroute it around the top and then have this there or so. Yeah, that might work. But yeah, so I think the first step is to get the crimps on the front end of the cables to the penthouse, and then I can work out the lengths, because it is going to be tight. I'm not going to be able to have loads of flex, especially with this one, which is going to be going straight horizontally in there. See, this is the cover. You've got one horizontal, A going horizontally, and then B coming up from underneath. Okay, lots of fettling later, so you can see it's just lifted up a little bit and the car's isolated. So there are two little bolts that go in there, and then this bolt goes down, holds the lid on. This contact joins those for the safety interlock. I was just making sure that goes down so that the tabs could, well, I could check that they're making contact properly. So then they go round here. Equally, there's a sort of a housing that both cables go into, and then the cover, and the cover has some contacts that make an interlock connection in there. So I'll drop that down and hope that I've left enough but not too much slack in the system. I think that should be okay. I'm going to do a bit more filling and sealing and work out how to do the drain hole for that. It comes out of that bottom hole there. But yeah, last thing I want is the weight of connectors and things making that fall off. But I will do some cross bracing down to this shotgun. Once I start doing the frame that support the rear of the body, I'll add something in to support that. Okay, it's in. That a lever squeeze, and that's plugged in, but obviously it can't live there. Cables I could probably have done. Actually, it's this horizontal one actually that's probably causing them bigger problems. It's shorter and there's no real space to put like a strain relief loop in. So that's it. This, I don't know. It's just this connector for the door again. Maybe, yeah, maybe it will benefit to putting it there. See if I can get a few inches and maybe I can fit it there then. Let's have another look. Okay, quick test of the wipers just to see what the stroke is. You can see that. Looks a lot better on screen. To drive, well, passenger side I think is okay. So the driver's not going much above vertical. So if you see the mechanism down there, there's plenty of clearance. So I'll shorten that one and then have another go. No panic, but a little job I can do in between things. But yeah, I've extended the wiring harness, obviously, so it works now, because it was only, well, way over there. Probably 1.5 metre extension, 1.3 metres. And I've now got the charge port all in place and nice. I relocated, well, drilled a new hole where the flap harness comes through, and actually that seems like good placement now. I'll get out and I'll show you. So there we go, so plenty of clearance with that plug now, barely reaching, so I'll probably be able to fit it up there somewhere out of the way. But now I've got all this in place, I can start thinking about how I'm going to seal off that wheel arch, how I want to seal it, and start boxing in the boot area, framing up for the hinge. I'll probably do a bit of a rear body support across here as well. Okay, I'm getting really pissed off with this. Somewhere there's a little bit of flex in this plastic front and it's not quite going all the way down. I've managed to get it to a point where if I push the connector quite hard, it'll latch. I have to sort of push down to get it unlatch when I undo it. But battery's getting a bit low. My enthusiasm's getting a bit low. So I'm just going to leave it there for this week. And also I think I've got to take some weight out of this. The door flap sometimes struggles a bit opening, and then, as you have seen, sort of slams down. So there's definitely some weight to be taken out of. I did have some carbon fibre mat somewhere. I just can't for the life of me find it. I was just going to do a thin carbon skin. I think first I'll try having another go at this with a grinder. Should be able to get it down to about half the weight. That should help.